Well, hello and welcome into another edition of 8Sports Nightcap here on WRICNow.com, on our WRIC Plus app, and on Facebook and YouTube as well. Thanks so much for tuning in to a very special edition of the show this week here in Richmond. It's a special week because it's the final series for the Richmond Flying Squirrels over at the Diamond as they say farewell to the Diamond and kind of look towards the future next season, right at the brand new CarMax Park that is obviously still under construction, but should be ready to go for next baseball season. And what better way to talk about the Richmond Flying Squirrels than bringing in the man himself, Mr. Flying Squirrels. Parney, thanks so much for stopping by. I know it's a busy time of, maybe not as busy since it's the very end of the year, but a very exciting time to be over at the Diamond.
Yeah, Nolan, thanks for having me. It's surreal already as we're starting the week. A lot of emotions even over the weekend. I was down in Sandbridge at our beach house, the seventh inning stretch, sitting on the dock by the bay, and I just found myself starting to cry, right? Like
Really?
this is a week that a lot of people in Richmond probably never thought was going to happen. And for Lou DeBella and Ben Rothrock and Anthony and everybody here at the Squirrels to do everything they needed to do over the past 15 years to make this farewell to the Diamond happen. It's a career highlight, honestly.
The final game on Sunday is already sold out. I think that says a lot about the fact that people want to be a part of history, right? And there's been so much history at the Diamond. I'm sure that's something you saw coming that would sell out and that people would get. People are getting it. It's not just you getting emotional about this historical event that's happening, but the fans are too.
Richmond's a special place, Nolan, as you know, in your job and in your life, being around here. It's just a special group of people. I've always said for years, Richmond's a special place full of special people doing special things. And I think that what the Diamond has meant to generations of families is going to be well apparent, not only this week, but for years to come as we go into CarMax Park. We're going to make more memories over there too. But I think this is a week that everybody's just setting aside to reflect and be grateful. I mentioned Lou already and the Squirrel staff. Be grateful for everything that was done to get us to this part. And then there's people like the Richmond Braves staff. We had Bruce Baldwin here last homestand. There's a bunch of people that I've been friends with for 3 decades plus that are coming in for Sunday. Rick Red, Todd Vanderwoody, Mike O'Toole lives here, and he's coming out. So, those people have their own special memories too. So very grateful for everything that's happening and very excited about the future.
To kind of start this thing off and maybe give us a little bit of a history lesson here. How did you first get involved with the Squirrels? And then, I'm obviously only been here for a couple of years now, so I don't know all the history of, baseball coming back to Richmond. Were you a part of that transition? And then, your first year with the team, can you just kind of bring us back to, 2009, 2010?
Yeah, well, no, I met Lou DeBella in 2002. Lou was a minority partner in the Altoona Curve, and Lou and I met, and Lou was a minority partner, as I just said. And he looked at me that night and said, "Man, this is really cool. I got to get myself one of these teams." And then he went out and bought the Norwich Navigators, and I was working in Altoona. And then fast forward to when the market opened up here in Richmond, and all of baseball was talking about Richmond as a market, who's going to go into Richmond. And Lou was in Norwich, struggling in Norwich, and he made a bid to come down here. Chuck Domino was the first person that ever hired me in 1989 with the Reading Phillies, and Lou had hired Chuck to be his consultant and the person to put the staff together. And so I moved here on faith. Chuck called me and said, Lou wants to put together a staff, and he's commissioned me to do that. And I told him that you would probably come down and be the guy. And I looked at him and I'm like, let's roll, baby. And so I literally came to Richmond, Nolan. The only time I'd ever been to Richmond, Virginia was in college when we were coming back from Beach Week in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I don't know if am I allowed to say this on TV? I peed in the parking lot of the Diamond when the Diamond had just opened up. So that's the only time I've been here. So from that point of coming here on faith and believing in Lou and believing in what we were trying to do, we're going to try to do, Not many times in your life are you given a blank sheet of paper and said, build something, right?
Yeah.
And, Chuck and Bill Perpiniak was our original general manager. We put together a staff that was like a melting pot of people. And in September 23rd, we announced that we were bringing baseball back to Richmond, and we played a game here at the Diamond in April. Now, that might not sound like much, but most of the time when people start minor league baseball teams in a community, they have 18 months to do it. We did it all in 5.5 months. So that's something I think about all the time is just, when we started, we didn't have a name, we didn't have seats, we didn't have an office. Like, bro, we had nothing, like literally nothing. And we built it into what I like to think now is a community institution. And I'm very, very proud of that. And it's the work of so many people, including people like you in the media, the corporate partners that we've had through the years, the community leaders, the politicians, like all the success of the Flying Squirrels and the Diamond for the last 15 years is a culmination of a lot of people working together.
What did the diamond look like when you showed
Bro.
up? Was it, I mean, what was it in disrepair? Or did you show up like how are we going to get a game going here? Because obviously it's got some years on it, even back then.
So it had been dormant for what, a year and a half or so, and we had our first meeting here. Chuck Domino and I, Lou wasn't here that day, and we walked around and took a tour. We went up into one of the concession stands, and I looked at Domino and said, "Dude, you just ruined my career. This is like, we can't do this. We can't do it." And he looked at me and he goes, "Everything's going to be fine, and we're going to build this into a lasting legacy that people in Richmond are just going to love more than they've ever loved anything before." And then when we named the team the Flying Squirrels, talk about this a lot. See, back then I didn't have the Parney pants. I got the Parney pants on right now, right?
Yeah.
They're back in my locker. I got about 20 pairs in my locker. The other 80 pair over in the locker room that I think the players try them on every once in a while. But we were naming the team the Flying Squirrels, and nobody knew who we were yet. They didn't know the Parney face or the Parney pants. So we'd be sitting in bars trying to get something to eat, and you'd hear people at the bar going, "I don't know who these jerks are that named the team the Flying Squirrels, but I wish they would come back, or I wish they would go back to wherever they went before." So, being a person of opportunity, I would send them all rounds of shots and say, "These are from the people that named the team the Flying Squirrels. We can't wait to see you at the Diamond."
That's great. And, back then, even, there were a few minor league teams. I feel like as time has gone, I mean, the Squirrels are kind of on the cutting edge of kind of having one of those more fun, unique names. Now you see a lot of the teams that are changing to something a little more unique, or some when these other new teams have showed up. I think Rocket City Trash Pandas, for example,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of went that route for branding purposes. And when you have a good team name, people want to buy merchandise and have fun at the ballpark. And I feel like the Flying Squirrels were kind of early to the game on that as well.
So we built this franchise on three principles. Number one, have fun every single day. The Richmond Braves were great when they were here, but that was more about baseball, right? They had the David Justices of the world and the Great Eight, and just so much success with the Braves. And we've embraced that like through the years. And,
Yeah.
and there's going to be a ton. David Justice is going to be here this weekend. He's flying in from his home in California. So it means a lot to all those people. And we didn't turn our back on that, except we knew we wanted to have fun every day, set the tone for fun, be different every day, hence the name the Flying Squirrels. Nobody had ever in the history, wait for it, Nolan, of the world, nobody had ever named a team the Flying Squirrels. And then we wanted to be impactful. Like I remember saying to somebody when I first got to town, "Who's this Bobby Ucrop guy, man? What's Ucrop's home? What's you, like everybody talks about Ucrops." And they told me that they were a community institution, and that the Ucrop family and the Ucrop business was a business that people went to when they needed something. And I looked at them and said, "That's what we're trying to build here. We want to be the impact machine 365 days a year. Yes, we're a baseball team, but we want to be a year-round existence so that everybody convenes at the Diamond with the Squirrels or away in other parts of Richmond to impact the community." And that's probably the thing I'm most proud of. I'm not saying that we did it as good as U Crops or replaced U Crops, but I think that now, 15 years later, I can safely say that the Richmond Flying Squirrels are one of those businesses where people come to when they need something.
Yeah, people do come to games. That's for sure. I mean, the attendance that you guys have been able to have, um, since the very beginning, in terms of leading the Eastern League, leading Double A. What is it about your organization, just baseball fans in Richmond, that makes the product so alluring to fans to fill out the diamond as often as they do?
Well, I alluded to it a little bit earlier. It takes everybody, right? So, like the media had to be bought in, the corporate partners had to be bought in, the fans themselves had to be bought in, the ownership group had to trust that we knew what the heck we were doing, right, as a management team, and then we had to be all in, and we lived it. And one of my Parney sayings is, "You got to live it every day. Like you never turn it off." And because of that, I'm looking at this video footage of going past the diamond. I can't believe that even the boulevard has changed so much. Like one of my first meetings said to me, and like I got here August 2nd, 2009. One of the first people said, "All right, at night you don't go across that bridge." Well, now the bridge, Nolan, is Scott's Addition, and it's
Yeah.
the most happening place in Richmond. So that I think that I'm not saying that we're the reason for all that, but I think the Flying Squirrels vibe and the Flying Squirrels year-round attitude certainly had a lot to do with the growth in and around the Diamond that's going to now become the Diamond District in the home of Carmack's Park.
And they're talking about that bridge. They're updating that bridge now as well. A lot of things going on around the area. You earlier you talked about a lot of people didn't think that it would ever happen, that a new baseball stadium was going to be coming. And I know this is kind of ancient history now in terms of how long ago it was decided that it was coming. But when you finally got that yes, this is happening, this is for real. I mean, was that a big sigh of relief, or for you it was like, just show me where to sign, and then we'll get it done?
I think a lot of it goes back to Lou DeBell as our managing partner. Like, he went through a lot through all these years, and a lot of really tough days, a lot of really tough meetings, and a lot of owners probably could have just said, this isn't going to work, right? And we're going to go somewhere else. But Lou's from New York. Lou's a Hall of Fame boxing promoter, and Lou believes in Richmond and never wanted to leave Richmond. And I think his determination and his ability to lead this organization as the owner, the managing owner, really had a lot to do with us being in the place that we're in today. So Lou deserves a ton of credit, and I don't think he gets enough credit, honestly, for hanging in there and doing it. When we finally got the deal done, I'd already stepped down as CEO and I'm in my senior advisor role. But I remember how emotional I got. I remember being with my wife, Tanya, at a city council meeting when they voted 9-0. And a lot of people turned around and looked at me and said, I never thought we would get a unanimous decision. And, city council believes in the Squirrels, and not just because of we're a baseball team, but, the political leaders saw what we did 365 days a year. And we're going to be able to do even more than that now with Carmack's Park, because one of my other Parney sayings, Nolan, is we've been fighting a sword fight with a rusty butter knife for the last 15 years. And now, as you see what is becoming Carmack's Park on the drone footage, we're going to have a nice sword to fight this sword fight. So year-round events internally at Carmack's Park and externally out on the field. There's just going to be so many things that's going to be able to impact the community. But I'll finish this comment with this. Um, every day when I don't come to work every day, every 2-3 days a week when I come to work now, I have an old legal pad that I write my plans on, and every single day, I write out one thing that's a staple for me. In every difficult circumstance, there's always value. And believe it or not, the 15 years that it took to get us from saying farewell to the Diamond to Carmack's Park had a ton of value in it. I don't think that we would mean as much to the Richmond community had we got a ballpark when we thought we were going to get it in 2011 or 2012. we became so ingrained in this community and so much a part of people's individual lives that this is why it eventually happened. And everything happens, in the right time, in God's time. And I think that the time is right now for us to say farewell to the Diamond and tip our cap to the Diamond for a job well done for 40 years. And then move across the street to Carmax Park, which is just going to be a jewel of not only minor league baseball, but a jewel of facilities in America.
Absolutely. And you kind of talked about, your transition from moving into a senior advisor. Was that decision to do that tough for you? Were you excited about maybe having a little extra time to yourself? What was that decision like to move, to take a little step back from what you were doing?
Well, I only did things as CEO one way, and that was 100 miles an hour at all times. So I was in here 6 in the morning to 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's just not a sustainable lifestyle. So I did that for 35 years, and I wasn't sick or anything, but my average blood pressure, my last year's CEO, which was 2023, was about 190 over 110. Now I'm not a doctor, Nolan, but that ain't good, bro.
Yeah.
So I was down in Sandbridge with our two oldest kids, sitting on the beach, and literally just looked up one day at the sun and said, "Hey guys, I need to slow down, or they're going to find me slumped over my desk someday." So it was kind of a quick thing, but then thank God, Lou, when I told him what I was thinking, Lou was like, "You can't just retire, bro. Like, you got to be involved with the Squirrels for your own sake." And he was right. He
Yeah.
was right. I'm so grateful to still be a part of it. I'm so grateful. And then I think that, we worked hard so that the pants and the personality became kind of synonymous with the Flying Squirrels in this community. And so that couldn't go away either. So I love Lou DiBella as a person. I love Lou DiBella as a boss. Not many times in your life are you able to have a conversation with the person that's your boss, and when you hang up you say, "Hey, I love you, buddy," and they'll say, "I love you back." So I'm very grateful to Lou for this opportunity to still stay around. And man, I'm so much healthier. I'm addicted to the Peloton now instead of being in the office, and it has really helped me grow as a dad and as a husband, but it's also helped Ben Rothrock, Anthony Opperman, Megan Engstad, the other people at the Squirrels, Brendan Porter, that have stepped into senior management roles. And I knew they were ready. And that's another reason that I was so comfortable in making that decision in 2023 to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, and with that, there's some rumblings around the Richmond area about maybe your involvement in a possible hockey team. Do you think that's a possibility? Could Richmond ever return to having hockey played here?
Well, I told Tanya, my wife, one time, wouldn't it be neat on my gravestone someday to have it say brought baseball and hockey back to Richmond? And Tanya was like, "What about loving husband and father?" I'm like, "You put that on the other side. We have it on two sides." And there's a long way to go on that, but that is one of the things in my downtime that I'm working on with a bunch of different people. Obviously, we get into the facility issue with the professional hockey team now, right? But we've had a lot of great conversations with professional hockey leagues across the country. I've been blessed to have some great relationships through my career with professional hockey people. So that's one of the things that when I'm not working with the Squirrels here at the Diamond or working across the street at Carmax Park, I spend some of my time working on hockey as in addition working on my Parney Time podcast, which is a project
Of
I
course,
always
yeah.
wanted to do, but I just didn't have time to do it. And now I'm working with Octagon Sports to work on the Party Time podcast. We're in our second season now, and it's just been a lot of fun, and we're trying to grow it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of want to finish up with, maybe some of your favorite memories of your time at the Diamond. Do you have a favorite? We'll start with maybe your favorite promotion that you've maybe helped kind of concoct and come up with over the past 15 years.
So this is one of the things I haven't become good at, and I've had plenty of time to practice, but it's so hard for me to pinpoint one. When you're talking about over 6 million people just in our tenure, and you're talking about 69, 70 games a year for 15 years and a promotion every night. So it's hard for me to pinpoint one promotion, but I've had a couple moments away from the ballpark I'll never forget, and it's because of all the things we do inside the ballpark.
Hmm.
But about 3 months ago, I was working out in our neighborhood, and it was the sun was coming up. I know I'm talking a lot. I apologize.
No, I mean, it's a podcast.
Yeah. So I'm getting ready to put my headphones in. I'm doing the outdoor Peloton and got my music ready, and I take off. And the sun's rising, so it's still kind of dark out. And this car zooms by, hits the brakes, and starts backing up. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I saw Goodfellas. I know what happens here, right? And the guy rolled down his window and said, "Parney, don't be alarmed. Uh, I'm taking my wife somewhere, but I saw you and I recognize you, and we just wanted to stop the car and say thank you for everything the Squirrels have done in this community." That's the kind of stuff, Nolan, that doesn't happen in a lot of places, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that when you work so hard on all these promotions that we've been talking about, and you work so hard on the year-round involvement in the community, when you really get validation from individual people that it's meant a lot to their family and to them personally, that's the memories that I take from the diamond. Those are that's the things that I latch on to, that tells me that we did okay at the diamond.
What about maybe a favorite event that you guys have hosted that's not a baseball game?
Well, COVID was a tough time, right?
Yeah.
And it was a really tough time. And we pivoted and tried to do things so that the diamond could still be a a central figure, even though people weren't going places. So, turning the scoreboard into a movie theater and doing movies in the outfield during COVID, or turning the diamond into an actual frisbee golf place so people could play frisbee golf in and around the diamond during COVID. COVID taught us an awful lot. There's Casey Schmidt, one of my favorite guys. Um, you know, and I think that's again the things that I reflect on is how when we were presented with tough times, how do we react? Because it's the tough times when you see what people are truly made of, not the good times necessarily, but the tough times. And I think the Squirrels always rose to the occasion to be there for the community during the tough times. So I would say the things we did during COVID that we're now taking over to Carmax Park. We're going to have movies in the outfield at Carmax Park on the biggest video board. Listen to me. The biggest video board in the Commonwealth of Virginia is going to be at Carmax Park. So, those are the kinds of things. And then the fact that during this week I've gotten so many personal text messages from ex-players that want to come back. We have one player, Daryl Madej, is coming back and bringing his whole family because he's retired for 10 years now, and he wants his sons to see where he pitched the very first Squirrels game, where he pitched the very first Squirrels playoff game, and that's happening. So not only were we impactful, I feel like, with the players and excuse me, with the fans. We treated the players right, and the players then treated the fans right. And it just all, as I said before, it all kind of melded together where we have relationships with media people like yourself that we become friends with. And we know that you have a job to do, right? So there's times when we have to figure out how to help you, the media, do their job, even in some cases when it wasn't very comfortable, if it was a bad political situation or whatever. So all that stuff kind of goes into the melting pot of the memories of the diamond for me. And again, it's what I'm most grateful for is we all got through this together and we made bonds that will never go away.
All right. That was great. Appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us. How can our viewers tune into your podcast?
So it's called the Party Time Podcast. It's produced by Octagon Sports. You can get it anywhere you get a normal podcast. As I said, we've had some great guests. We have Will Clark, who told a story about Ricky Henderson that did a 5 million views on Instagram. We've had Jerome Bettis. We've had Jesse Cole from the Savannah Bananas, and a lot of other great guests. So anywhere you just Google up Party Time, and you can see the Party Time Podcast. And you never know what you're going to see or hear on the Parney Time podcast.
That's right. And of course, tickets are sold out for the final game on Sunday, but tickets are still on sale for the game tonight, and as well as the others this week. Final time to see the Richmond Flying Squirrels play at the Diamond this week against the Hartford Yard Goats. Parney, thanks so much for stopping by, and appreciate your time.
Bro, great to be with you. It's always great to see you out here at the Diamond, and it's also going to be great to see you at Carmax Park next year, April 7th. April 7th.
That's right. We can't wait. Thanks, Parney.
Thank you.